FM 96.3, Waupaca Radio, Community Conversation, School Board, Superintendent of Waupaca, Ron Saari. Welcome back, my friend.
Hey, Wayne. Thanks for the invitation.
How you doing?
I'm terrific.
I guess we're going to talk about a convention today. The Wisconsin School Board Association annual convention took place in Milwaukee recently, and you attended.
Yeah, I went down with a majority of my board, and together we went through a series of sessions and learning opportunities, and it was a real beneficial investment in our time.
Awesome. 3-day convention. Does the hotel bar make a good brandy old fashioned?
I don't know.
Because I'm thinking steak, lobster, oysters on the half shell, roasted duck, little flaming desserts, hot tubs, back rubs. I want to hear all about that stuff.
Wouldn't that be nice? I'm on one of those limited budgets where I can only spend $17 for a meal.
Well, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, but what happens in Milwaukee definitely does not stay in Milwaukee.
No, it doesn't. Especially when you're down there and you see all kinds of people you know.
We're just goofing off here. We're going to get to some serious biz now. First thing you want to talk about?
Well, we hit, I don't know if I counted all of them, but I would imagine at least a dozen different sessions. And one of them that I attended and was really interested in is called SEL.
SEL. I got nothing.
Okay, it's an acronym for Social Emotional Learning.
I could probably use some of that.
We all can. We all can.
Okay, so give me the rundown.
Well, I could give you this, Wayne, I could give you this big, long explanation and talk about all kinds of theories of what it is. But in my opinion, the bottom line is it's about showing people that you care.
That sounds like a good plan.
It's understanding people from where they came from and knowing that some of our kids that come to our schools could have experienced trauma in their lives and could have experienced some bad things that have happened to them or in front of them. And they could be carrying that along with them to school. And it could be having an impact on how their days go and things like that.
This sounds like basically everybody in life.
It is. You're right.
We all come from different places. We all have a different background. We all have a different story. I don't know what's going on in your home life. You don't know what's going on in my home life.
Terrific, right?
We don't know if that lady over there has kids or not kids or is on drugs or, but we try not to judge, or I try not to judge people.
Sure.
But we all mentally inside do that from time to time. Like, you idiot. What planet did you come from?
Yeah.
So how did they address that?
Well, they gave some different strategies. The biggest thing is about building relationships with kids and making sure that every single student has at least one adult that they have a trusting relationship with and are willing, can share with them, maybe confide in them, so that they always have somebody, if they're having a problem, that they can go to and talk about it with.
And I think back growing up, I got along with most of my teachers and respected most of them. And I think at least where I went to school, everyone did genuinely care about every student.
Yeah, and I would say that there's a lot of truth today in most, if not all, of our schools to that degree. Wayne, I think it's even deeper than that. It's being more conscious about it and conscious of understanding all the different things that some of our kids have experienced, and then how we interact with them, knowing that there could be some things that could set them off, and we can improve in our tone, in what we say, how we say it, to not be part of the problem and contribute to their emotional issues that may exist.
And if a kid finds that adult that they do trust, maybe the two of them can work with each other so that certain things don't trigger.
Exactly. Yep.
Do I have this right?
Yep. Because we have a limited amount of time, I can't get into all the nuts and bolts of it. But
right.
Really, when you boil it down, Wayne, that's the nuts and bolts right there. That's just the meat and potatoes. That's the bottom line.
Okay. Next topic: board and superintendent governance.
Right.
I have no idea what that is.
Well, a school board has a role of being a governing body. Administration has a role of being like the tactical branch, and staff have a role of being the operational branch. And so when we talk about board superintendent governance, we're talking about the relationship that you want to foster, a good, positive, trusting relationship between your board members. In our case, we have 7 board members and the superintendent. And so in these sessions, they talked about a variety of things in strategies, such as like policy governance, such as relationship building, such as how you make decisions together focused on what's best for the organization and the kids.
And not your own personal agenda.
Right.
And that's politics at the very core. And I think that's a great plan because obviously, I guess all 3 or 4 branches of what you just are going to butt heads occasionally. But can you butt heads maturely?
Right.
And not selfishly look at the big picture of what's better for the kids.
You're right on, Wayne. Yep.
Wow, 2 for 2, people.
You're good. You're good.
Well, I'll probably bomb out on this one.
You're reading my mind or something.
Oh, no. Next week, psychic topics with Wayne. Call in. I will predict your future and tell you your past. All right. Just a few weeks back, I talked to John Murray. He was right in that seat right there. I believe the assistant principal of the middle school.
Correct.
We had a great conversation about vaping. And you said one of the topics that was brought up at this convention, and you went to the seminar or whatever, is CBD oil.
Right.
Which I know zero, not a zilch. I know that you can vape it. But beyond that, I don't know anything about it.
Well, I think there's a misconception that you can vape it. Maybe people try to.
Oh,
but what
people try to eat Tide Pods.
Yeah,
so
right,
that wouldn't surprise me.
Right. And what we learned in this session, Wayne, is this CBD oil is administered like drops under your tongue, or you can rub it on a body on your body where you might have an ache or a pain. And the medicinal uses.
I'd be doused in this stuff, head to toe.
Yeah. Well, they didn't talk at all about it being smoked. What we've learned over the last several months is that the people who do smoke THC oil is they somehow use butane and burn it down until it's just the pure THC, which you're seeing some people smoking, but that's a separate thing than this CBD oil.
So my wrist hurts, and I put CBD oil on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now my wrist feels better. What's the downside to the CBD oil?
What do you mean, like a downside?
Well,
like a side effect?
Yeah. I mean, are you here saying that CBD oil is a good thing?
Well, I'm not here promoting or trying to say don't use it.
Right.
I'm just reporting what I learned in this about an hour or so presentation. But they didn't really talk about the downsides. What they were talking about are these people who have different diseases or physical ailments or possibly anxiety, and how it helped them cope or remove the pain.
Okay.
So they weren't really talking about the negative side effects, at least
All right.
what I heard and was exposed
So
to.
you did hear positive things about it.
For medicinal purposes, for people who have certain, especially pain ailments, that the medication doesn't work. And they were saying that this CBD oil does work for them. I don't know if it's 100%, but
Right.
There's a certain percent
Well,
of the
it's something else
people.
that's new on the market, generally speaking. And if there's going to be side effects, we probably don't know about them yet.
Well, exactly.
Does
And
that-
You're right. The biggest thing when I went to this, I was hoping to learn more about, because it was a series of attorneys that were putting this on with a CBD producer and a nurse.
Wow.
And so we were hoping to really learn about the ins and outs of the legalities of it having to do with schools. But it's such a new thing that there's no...
The schools really haven't addressed it yet because there hasn't been...
Or the laws haven't.
Any issues?
The states haven't. Because it just... They made it where you can have CBD oil in a state, and nobody thought through, okay, how does that work if you go to work with that CBD oil and are using it? How does it work when you do, go to school?
How is it going to come up on the job with the drug test?
Right. One thing we did learn is that it has 0.3% THC. So it's a small amount.
If you're putting a drop of... That doesn't matter.
So it really doesn't show up in any kind of test typically.
Right.
But they said at the same time, depending on your body type and your size and everything,
Of course.
it could.
Your diet, how much you
Yeah,
sleep.
right. So in some cases it could, in other cases it won't.
So that's something that's going to be coming up in the future.
Right. So we got a jump start to try to understand more, learn more. And we were hoping to get guidance regarding the legality piece, but we didn't get a lot.
Okay. I thought we were going to go in a different direction because I didn't really know anything about it. And you're like, they put it under their tongue and they rub it on. But this looks like something that I want to educate myself about.
It could be.
It could be beneficial.
It could be.
But
it's expensive.
I also want to look at the, whatever research is out there for a downside. Okay, so that's a quick synopsis of just a little bit of the stuff that you did.
Just a fraction of our...
Yeah. But it sounds like it was a very productive time.
It was really good. I took notes and I shared them with my board and my admin team that not only show my notes, but if I was able to get a hold of the PowerPoint or any of the handouts that they had, I attached them so that everybody gets exposed to the information. And we're going to come back and try to implement some of the pieces that we learned.
Let's go on to one more topic because we have a little bit more time.
Sure.
You said you just finished, before we went on air, obviously, a 100-day plan that you had implemented, and you had the results from it?
Yep. So when I came in to the district, Wayne, being hired, and you don't know a lot about your district because you haven't worked in it yet. I mean, I know schools and I know districts, but there's a lot to learn still in a new place. Mm-hmm. People, processes, standard operating procedures, the culture. So I created a 100-day plan to be intentional of what I wanted to look for and learn about, and it had different pieces to it. And so that 100 days came and went. Mm-hmm. And I interviewed between 80 and 100 people. We did surveys to parents, students, staff, and the board, and so...
Did you have a whole staff collecting the data?
I didn't. I should have.
I was going to say.
Because I spent a lot of time on weekends and evenings, putting it all together. But yeah, so I had...
You're supposed to delegate those things. Next time.
Maybe, yeah. That'd be a good idea. I should have been in contact with you. You could have counseled me on that, Wayne.
I could have done it for you.
Yeah. So, I took all these reports and all these documents, I don't know, 50, 60, 70, I don't know. I didn't count all the pages. And
right.
worked with my admin team, and we kind of sum up. I like to get down to the bottom line. So we kind of can sum up in 3 sentences everything that we learned in those 100 days.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to hear those 3 sentences?
I do.
First is, we're headed in the right direction. I think a lot of people think, you got a new person coming in and they're going to come in.
They're going to come in and rock the boat and
change a lot of stuff. And so basically,
human nature.
We don't need to, though, because we do have a lot of good things going. We got a great staff. We got great people.
Good culture.
Yep. And we are doing some good things. So I think we continue to go where we're headed and just keep getting better at it.
Okay, number 2.
We knew coming in, because we're an organization and every organization has communication issues. It's like you can never fix it. You can never communicate enough.
2 people can't communicate.
Sometimes
half the
they
time.
can't, yeah. And because it's a two-way thing.
Right.
You got to listen and you got to talk and you got to ask for clarification. And it's kind of an art.
Social emotional learning.
Yeah. So we have a lot of things that we want to improve on in communication.
All right. But that's easy enough
Yeah.
to understand. It's not easy to do all the time, but it's easy to understand that.
Yeah. And so we'll put together, working with the board and staff, what the strategy is to intentionally improve in communication in our organization.
Okay, quickly. Number 3.
Are you ready for this one?
Yep.
Do I get a drum roll? Appreciate you playing along with me here, Wayne. Culture. I really think for us to get to the next level of effectiveness, we need to focus on continuing to grow our culture. There's a difference between climate and culture. Climate is kind of like a morale and how you feel. Culture is how we think and behave. And so focusing on a positive mindset, a growth mindset.
It's the Waupaca way.
It's the Waupaca way. All of us, not only the kids, but us as adults, behaving and thinking the Waupaca way all the time. You know what I mean? Not talking negatively about a person, not going behind their back, taking the mail to the mailbox.
Don't talk the talk, walk the walk.
Right. Just growing our levels of professionalism in how we handle conflicts, how we handle disagreements, how we handle differing opinions, that we can agree to disagree agreeably. We don't have to, there's no grudges.
Well said, sir.
It's those things that we really believe will help us as we continue to improve in those areas, become better as an organization.
Well, thank you very much. Great insight. FM 96.3 Community Conversation. Ron Saari, good seeing you again, my friend.
You too, Wayne.
Until next time, I'm Wayne. See ya.